What's up, guys? I've used this picture before. It's actually making fun of a Konami's best hits, little greatest hits package that they did for Dawn of Sorrow about maybe 7 years ago. The image inside the initial DS box there was actually real. They put like a DS box inside a DS box and made that as a package. But what I wanted to talk about today was the success of all the recent Kickstarter campaigns that we've seen recently. As you know, at the time of recording, it is the 11th. Bloodstained, which is basically a successor to the Metroidvania games that came out up to about 7 years ago, was funded in just about 2 hours, which is pretty crazy. I just wanted to talk about it because Castlevania games, or more specifically the Metroidvania games, they got me through some really rough times. The majority of the Metroidvania games came out during my time in high school. Those of you who know me at a more personal level would know high school was one of the worst times of my life for a lot of reasons I really don't want to go into. And those games really helped me to get through them. I don't know how many times I played through Aria of Sorrow, Dawn of Sorrow, and stuff like that. I played through those. I definitely got my 40 bucks worth out of those games. But a lot of people have been, wondering why these games, these Kickstarter campaigns, especially Mighty Number 9 more recently, and Ukulele as well, why have they been doing so well? And I think the reason for that is just because AAA gaming has grown stagnant, and I mean that in a pretty derogatory way, I guess you could say. Obviously, if you're looking for, a big budget Western and European made game, it almost always falls into the same handful of genres. It's open world, it's a first person shooter, some other heavily scripted, kind of franchise. And I think what these Kickstarter campaigns, the reason why they're succeeding so well, it's not necessarily nostalgia. I mean, they are obviously banking on nostalgia because, one of the big things that, they always promote, it happened with Mighty Number 9, it happened with Ukulele just a couple weeks ago, and now it's happening with Bloodstained. Is they have huge big name Japanese developers behind them, or in the case of Rare, they're big name British people, and that's how they get their initial, I guess, push, to get the game funded. But I don't really think it's all nostalgia. I think it's mostly just a lot of the genres that these Kickstarter campaigns are, trying to produce are genres that haven't really seen that much, love from any kind of professional, funding in a long time. Obviously, Ukulele, the reason why that did so well, like I said, I don't think it's necessarily because of nostalgia. It's more just on the basis of the 3D platformer genre has been dead a lot longer. I think Mega Man, hasn't been gone as long as a lot of people would say. I think some of the complaints about Capcom kind of killing Mega Man have been a little bit unfounded. The last mainline Mega Man game came out just 5 years ago, which is not really that long. Metroidvania, it's been about 7 years since Order of Ecclesia came out. The last, mainline Castlevania game was Harmony of Despair, which really wasn't, it didn't really adhere to any of the other genres that the other mainline Castlevania series had. It was kind of its own thing. It was very obviously low budget. I mean, the entire thing was pretty much crafted from the old assets. They just kind of bumped up the resolution a little bit and made their own game. But I think it's good to see, just from someone who's older. I know I am in my late 20s. I grew up in what many largely consider to be the golden era of gaming. Back then, limitation breeded a lot of creativity. A lot of the things that we take for granted now, like these Kickstarter campaigns and stuff, those came from eras where they're kind of like me. They're kind of like a lot of the indie developers right now. They work with nothing. They had nothing to work with, both in money and technology. And now that technology is better, now that a lot of these historical franchises and genres really don't get much love outside of the indie scene, I think that's why things are going so well for these right now. I think the timing is a big part too. I mean, You know, especially with all the shit going on with Konami right now. You know, the chances of a mainline Castlevania game right now that would actually be, you know, on par with the quality of the EGA stuff, even, you know, the more classic styled ones, the chances of that happening are pretty slim. A lot of the talent isn't even there anymore. But I don't really know what the point of this is. I just kind of wanted to talk about it. You know, I played a lot of those games when I was growing up. You know, those were the AAA blockbusters to me. You know, I was never really, you know, big into a lot of the other stuff. You know, I I remember pre-ordering Aria of Sorrow and being like the only person to come and pick it up and stuff like that. I think it's great to see you know, those genres come back. Like I said, nostalgia is only a small part of it. I think it's just you know, the AAA developers, they don't really want to take risks on anything that's not going to pander to the lowest common denominator and sell a couple million copies. I think it's a shame to see that. I mean, things like Castlevania, you know, those used to be AAA games. I remember Super Castlevania 4 was a huge, you know, big name game. You know, the graphics were beautiful on that. They still hold up today, over 20 years later. And, you know, AAA gaming has changed for the worse, in my opinion. I mean, there's still some great AAA stuff that comes out. I mean, even I, you know, someone who plays more niche-oriented games, like 95% of what I play is not really in the public eye, so to speak. You know, it's not really going to be on the shelves of GameStop or Walmart. You know, even I enjoyed Saints Row 4 just last year. I thought that was a pretty fun game. I mean, it wasn't what I normally play, but I liked how it didn't take itself seriously. I liked the core gameplay was fun. You know, it's kind of just something. Wasn't really like most AAA games. It didn't try to be grim, dark, and serious. You know, the game just didn't give a shit. I hope to see more things like these Castlevania games, you know, this Bloodstained and stuff, coming out in the near future. I have to admit, the reason why I've been embracing indie games so much, and I guess what could be considered AA games like Basara, you know, games that have relatively large budgets, but they aren't expected to sell millions of copies. I've been embracing those a lot more because AAA gaming is pretty much a broken format right now. You know, you're hearing stuff about, you know, certain games are, you know, selling 1 million copies, and it's like not even enough to, you know, consider making a sequel or expanding the franchise anymore. You know, just, you know, barely like 15 years ago, if even that, you know, if a game sold 1 million copies, you know, you got a PS2 greatest hits reprint for $20, and, you know, you got a bunch of extra sales and street cred off that. I think it's sad to see. I hope moving forward, I hope, you know, the few AAA developers that are left, you know, Ubisoft and stuff like that, I hope they look at all these Kickstarter campaigns that have just happened just in the past year. I mean, we've seen Yooka-Laylee, Mighty Number 9, and now Bloodstained have been funded. I hope that they're willing to take more risks. I mean, obviously, these games don't cost as much as something like, you know, Grand Theft Auto 5 or something. I hope that they'll be willing to, you know, take more risks moving forward and just kind of foster in more franchises. AAA gaming, you know, I used to be, you know, big on AAA games, you know, back when I was growing up, but now I just can't even really touch them aside from a couple rare exceptions. Saints Row 4 I thought was a pretty fun game. But anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I saw this kind of a hot topic right now. You know, a lot of people accuse these Kickstarter campaigns of just pandering towards nostalgia for people in my age bracket. You know, people in their mid to late 20s that grew up in the 16 to 32-bit eras. But I think there's a lot more to it than that. It's more promoting genre diversity, which is something that's really missing in big budget games right now. See you guys tomorrow. Peace.